grid. What's it feel like out there? This is awesome.
But how much do we know what's in his head?
Welcome to Paddock Uncut. This is Formula One in 2016, and as we watch, it's gone 9 o'clock here in Barcelona. We're just waiting for that red light to go green, and we will have the start of testing for 2016 Formula One season. We've seen the cars unveiled this morning. We've seen the W07, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg have their photos taken in front of their 2016 Challenger. We can hear the engines starting up in the garages up and down this pit lane. A first run out for some of these teams of their cars. Others have done filming days, which is why we got a glimpse of the Mercedes on track. We know that Ferrari were here yesterday, and they did their filming day at this very circuit. And the first car to come down the pit lane now is indeed the Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton is approaching me. The light's gone green. That's the first car of the 2016 Formula One season to take to the track here in Barcelona. He may have been the first out, but he wasn't first on the timesheet by close of play. That honour belonged to Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, who posted a time half a second quicker than Hamilton on the same medium tyres. Daniel Ricciardo was third quickest and a second off the Ferrari pace, but completed 87 laps in the RB12. Williams were just behind and managed 80 laps, while Force India's development driver finished fifth fastest after 58 laps and hands the car over to Sergio Perez tomorrow. But just behind him was Jenson Button in the McLaren, albeit on the faster, soft tyres. But the morning didn't run smoothly, and in the lunch break, Eric Boulier expressed his disappointment. We've had half our mornings running today, but already seems improvements. The car's stayed out quite a lot. You've got some good laps under your belt. What's your very first impressions of it?
Not good enough. We don't have obviously the best mileage. We had a couple of issues in the car, and but yeah, it's definitely better. But we obviously suffered the pain 1 year already, so it's a minimum we can expect.
That's quite a concern if it's already not good enough at lunchtime on day one, though. Or was that to be expected? Do you expect the teething problems in the first morning session?
Testing is testing, okay? So yes, we have. I'm not saying it's a concern because we could run properly then for a number of runs. You know, it's just testing. We have to test. We have to make the car breaking down. To be honest, so no concern. Just make sure that we keep learning.
How much of today's programme did you manage to get through in the end?
We missed quite a bit. I mean, we were hoping to do. You always. I think we had 115 laps on the programme, so it's quite a lot. But we didn't get anywhere near that. But it wasn't through reliability issues. It was more through just things taking a bit longer than we thought they would, and just being very careful with the things that we're doing. So no, the guys did a really good job. I think everyone up and down the pit lane has been working super hard this winter, and our guys are no exception. So no. Big thank you to them for all their hard work, and especially here at this test. It's such a busy one for them, but everything's been working well. So.
We spoke to Eric at lunchtime, and I said, what are your first impressions of the car? And he said, not good enough. What are your thoughts, one, on his comments and your first impressions?
Well, unless you think you have a car that can win the first race, you're going to think it's not good enough. So it goes for most of the field. So, I think it's a pretty standard day one. It's always very difficult to get a feel. We say that on the first day you can get a good understanding, but it is tricky when the conditions are like this. And a lot of the work we've been doing is trying out things. We've got new things to try, which are really interesting. It's good to get them on the car, see that they work correctly, but we haven't really done any outright runs for pace or setup.
Lewis Hamilton completed 156 laps in the W07 in total, but more kilometres than its predecessor did on the first day of testing last year. But instead of using his lunch break to recharge, he spoke to us about his first impressions.
It feels very much the same as last year's car, to be honest. There's a few little bits here and there, but otherwise it's generally the same. It's an evolution of last year's car, so I think that's a positive. And the fact that in the first day we've already done 60 laps, I think that's a real good. That's a very, very encouraging for us, because normally in the first day you always have problems here and there with the car stopping. So fingers crossed that will continue.
Do you still have that feeling you had at the end of 2015, though, where you weren't quite as happy as the car after the changes were made to the suspension? Is that feeling still there for you?
It's difficult really to say, to be honest. It all feels a bit new. I've not been in the car for ages, so I can't particularly remember what the feeling was back then, but it's when we start to push the car, start to get the car in the setup zone, which we have not done yet, is when perhaps we'll find out.
And you probably haven't seen any other lap times yet. I imagine you've been working hard on your own, but were you expecting the main challenge to come from Ferrari this year?
That was the talk from everyone, so yeah.
Red Bull enjoyed a better first day than 12 months ago, but their team principal is realistic about the year ahead.
It's great to be back. It's like a first day back at school, really. So just getting to the new RB12, and so far everything's gone pretty much on schedule.
The words year of transition have been used around this car. How difficult is it starting a season like that?
Well, it's very much exactly what it's going to be. We're going to see a season of two halves. I think the first half is going to be harder for us, and then as progress with the power unit comes on stream and we develop this car, then hopefully that'll put us in a more competitive position in the second half of the championship.
It looks good. What do you know of what's underneath? What areas in particular have you been working on?
We've tried to evolve all areas of the car, and it's an evolution of RB11, but the progress so far is positive. Daniel's reported, nothing negative about the car.
While Alfonso Celis Jr. was putting the VJM09 through its paces on track and into fifth on the timesheets, Nico Hülkenberg spent the morning carrying out interviews before he gets his first experience of the car on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, looks good. Obviously, same livery, so it's no big surprises there. It's quite a few new parts on the car if you see the side pods, and you have to really look closely to see all the new bits. It's maybe not that obvious, but also underneath the engine covers and all the internals, team has done a big push there and lots of new bits. So looking very encouraging, to be honest, and really excited and looking forward to go into the season now.
Have you driven it much in the sim?
No.
So you have no idea what this is like yet?
I do know. I mean, it's more or less the regs have been stable from last year to this year. So hopefully I'll get in the car and have a similar car feel to last year, just on a higher level, with the car being better where we had some issues last year. But I don't think it will change the world.
You had to have an A spec for the first half of last season, then you got into the B spec, and the team seems to be going in the right direction. Is it nice to start the car with the car you'll be racing with this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it feels so much better, and that's also why I'm quite confident and looking ahead to this season, because 1 year back things looked a lot more difficult, and now starting with this car, of which we know that was very competitive at the end of last year, is a nice feeling. So yeah, hopefully some good challenges and battles ahead.
Difficult to sit and watch Alfonso taking it round today, I'm sure. What will you be doing? More Instagram photos?
Not really. I'll hang around for a while, watch the action, and then I'll probably, go back to town and do some sports or something, keep myself busy.
Renault had a troubled day on their return to the sport and finished the day nearly 4.5 seconds off the pace. Just behind F1 newcomers, Haas F1, who had their own issues after a front wing failure halted their running after just 13 laps. They would get back out, but with just an hour till the checkered flag. The new look Manor Racing appeared late into the morning with DTM champion Pascal Wehrlein at the wheel, who was experiencing his first day as an official F1 race driver. So, Pascal, your first official day as a Formula 1 driver, how was it?
Very good. I really enjoyed it in the car. In the morning, unfortunately, we didn't drive so much, but now in the afternoon I did more than 50 laps, and for a new car, everything new, it's really good, and I'm looking forward to the next day.
What was it like? We saw you go out for one lap and unfortunately you had to crawl back in again, so earlier on this morning, but things seem to be sorted out this afternoon. What's the feel like in the car? And obviously you've done your DTM before and very successful at that. What are the major differences that you're having to deal with?
Yeah, DTM is something completely different, and you always have to adapt yourself and the driving style, and it's a completely different car, so I also had to get back used to it, to a Formula 1 car, and just get used to the team, work hard, improve, and get many interesting data out of the car.
There are a couple of other new drivers on the grid, but for you, you've only had a few weeks to get used to the team, to the surroundings, to being in Formula 1. You must have thought at the start of this year you were just doing DTM, I guess, for this season. So how's it been adapting to all of that?
Sorry again.
You've only been with the team a few weeks and in Formula One as such for a few weeks, because it had looked as though you would be doing just DTM this year. So how's it been adapting to the whole Formula One world? I know you've been in the paddock before, but it's quite different.
Yeah, I was reserve driver for Mercedes for 1.5 years already, so I know everything quite well. But for sure, for preparation and everything, it wasn't perfect. I just joined the team, I think, 1.5 weeks ago. And then you really have to hurry up and meet all the people and talk to them and make a program for the test. So there wasn't a lot of time, but I think for the first day today it was really good.
What's the biggest challenge you're finding? What's the hardest thing you're having to do? Is it giving the feedback? What's the hardest thing?
No, giving the feedback, it's quite easy. So I drove the Mercedes, I drove the Force India, so I have other F1 cars which I can compare to the manual car, and so I know in which direction we have to go.
And do you feel quite confident in giving that to the team and saying this is what we could do? And
yeah, definitely, and that was what happened today. So we started in the morning with only a few laps, and then in the afternoon we started our program. And we were a bit far off, but it's normal. It's everything is new, the new car, new engine, and then we improved quite a lot until the afternoon.
Great job today, well done.
Thank you.
So a day of mixed fortunes here in Barcelona. Ferrari are top of the times, but they were on day one last year and the year before that. Well, night time now here in Barcelona, but don't forget we'll be back with Paddock Uncut tomorrow night. Plus, you can read the live blog on skysports.com, or we'll have updates for you throughout the day on Sky Sports News HQ.